My eldest son started sleepwalking when he turned into about 8 or 9. I had heard of kids going through phases like that, so I wasn't too concerned at the beginning. It became simply one of these things, a bit unsettling, certain, but not anything I concept much about. I am a quite mild sleeper, so none of my youngsters have ever been able to sneak across the house at night without me knowing. It truly is virtually how I first discovered approximately my son's habit. Most nights I'd awaken and locate him standing in the hallway outside my bedroom, strolling barely on his heels, transferring his weight from foot to foot. His eyes could be open, however they were not seeing whatever that turned into the one element that usually got me for any of you who've lived with the sleepwalker. Exactly what I'm speaking about. His gaze might pass proper via me empty and remote, like he was searching past me into something I couldn't see. It was continually extremely odd, and that I in no way fully acclimated to locating him like that. Every so often he'd mumble something beneath his breath, words too soft and slurred to understand. Other times he wouldn't make a valid, just status there, inhaling that sluggish, consistent manner that by hook or by crook made it even worse. I lightly guide him to bed, whispering his name, telling him everything becomes satisfactory. He never seemed to, don't forget any of it. Inside the morning things escalated a few months when I concluded that he had become a sleepwalker one night. I awoke to a rhythmic tapping sound. It gave the impression of water droplets, time, and again dripping into a window pane only. It wasn't raining outdoors, it became gentle, slightly loud, sufficient to wake me at. At first, I thought it became part of a dream, a few ways off the noise that my half-asleep mind had misinterpreted. However, as I lay there, the sound endured, steady and planned. It wasn't sporadic like rainfall might be. It took place at regular intervals, and constantly on the equal quantity I saved, listening, looking to determine what it. Maybe it wasn't the residents settling, and it wasn't the wind outside, it was too unique. Once I realized the tapping wasn't going to stop, I begrudgingly well known that I might need to address it, I sat up and regarded the door, which is in which the sound was coming from. My husband was fast asleep, and I did not need to disturb him. I need to point out that I wasn't scared. Simply curious. In any other case, I probably might have woken him up. Besides, I was given out of bed to look into. Once I stepped into the hallway, I noticed him, my son, going through the wall, his forehead gently knocking towards it in gradual measured faucets. His fingertips lightly graze the wall in rhythm with his brow taps, as if he is looking to walk through it. I take into account calling his name, my voice slightly above a whisper. He failed to react, simply stored urgent, his head forward, knocking it in that eerie rhythmic way, like he was checking out something, like he changed into trying to push through. I stepped closer, but right earlier than I used to be, approximately to interfere. I hesitated. Something approximately the way he was moving, without a doubt, dispatched a chill right through me. I lightly reached out and positioned my hand on his shoulder, shaking him just enough to tug him out of anything trance he became in. He blinked, took a step back, and then, as if nothing had occurred, let me lead him back to bed. He in no way cited it inside the morning. It passed off some more times, but it was quite rare. If I am being sincere, I figured it becomes simply some other odd dependency of sleepwalkers. May have a few types of unconscious response to the wall, being there are some inner experiences of the area that his dreaming thoughts hadn't accounted for, and finally he outgrew it. The sleepwalking stopped, and the ordinary vacant staring inside the hallway became a bizarre little memory that I ordinarily forgot. Approximately that is till my more youthful son began doing the equal element. Years later, the sleepwalking. At the start, I brushed it off. Youngsters go through levels, some behaviors repeat themselves. It changed into so that uncanny that both of them started sleepwalking across the same age, again, though nothing too unusual. Genetics are a captivating element, but subsequently, I commenced noticing the little info, the matters that gave me a developing feel of concern. It wasn't just that he sleepwalked, it changed into how he sleepwalked. He stood in the hallway shifting from foot to foot, his eyes open but unfocused. He moved the same way as my older son had, with that gradual, eerie rhythm. Like his actions was not completely random, it became unsettling. It felt like I was living the memory of looking at my older son do the identical component years in advance. But it got worse than that. When one night time I woke up to that tapping noise again, I already knew what I'd seen earlier than I stepped into the hallway, and I used to be right there. He became brow-pressed to the precise same spot, knocking against the wall as he became looking to step into something that wasn't there. It became the identical behavior my older son had exhibited all those years in the past, from the forehead taps, all of the way down to the manner in his hands, brushed against the wall, I referred to as his call. Nothing. I touched his shoulder. Nothing. He simply stored, knocking his small frame swaying, barely lost in a few deep, unreachable vicinity. And that is, while it hit me, he had never seen his older brother sleepwalk as a minimum. Now, not that I know of, his brother hadn't performed this in years. There was no motive for him to exhibit the equal genuine conduct. Not simply the wandering. However, the status of the tapping, the eerie place urgency of it, I do not know why, but that thought made me feel unwell. After a few badgering, I eventually snapped him out of his trance. I guided him again to the mattress and tucked him in like I had carried out. So, generally, earlier than trying to tell me that it was just one of those things, and then just like his brother, he outgrew it, much like that. No more sleepwalking, no more tapping. He had no recollection of it, both, for years. I didn't reflect on consideration on it in all honesty. I had forgotten about the entirety, but there may be a purpose. I'm penning this now, my sons are away